Formula One is about to hit the reset button. And I mean, hit it hard. The 2026 technical regulations, they aren't just a little tweak. We're talking about a complete revolution. And as you start to dig into the details of these wild new rules, a really fascinating idea starts to pop up. What if this great reset was almost perfectly designed for the skill set of one specific driver? Let's break down why this whole thing might just be tailor-made for Checo Perez.
So this is the core idea we're going to explore. It's a pretty bold claim, right? To suggest that the very DNA of the future F1 car plays right into the hands of Red Bull's Sergio Perez. It suggests that it's not just about being the fastest anymore. It's about being smart, being smooth, and being incredibly precise.
Okay, so why? Why would anyone even think this? What is it about these new regulations that seems to point so directly to one driver? Well, it really boils down to three massive changes that are coming to the cars.
First up, and this is the really big one, active aerodynamics. Yeah, you heard that right. For the first time, F1 cars are basically going to be transformers, physically changing their shape multiple times a lap, all to squeeze out every last drop of performance.
So, how's this going to work? Well, drivers are going to have two modes to play with. When they're diving into the corners, they'll use what's called Z mode. That means the wings are fully deployed, basically gluing the car to the track for maximum grip. But then, on the straights, they'll switch to X mode, which flattens the wings to just slice through the air, boosting speed and efficiency. It becomes this constant tactical choice, lap after lap.
So where does Checo fit into all this? See, this isn't just about pushing a button on the steering wheel. It's about knowing exactly when to push it, when to attack, when to save energy, and crucially, when to defend.
This whole system rewards racecraft and real strategic intelligence over just raw, one-lap pace. It plays directly to the strengths of a driver who is famous for his race management, a guy nicknamed the Minister of Defense for his incredible ability to strategically place his car and manage his resources. This is where that hard-earned experience really trumps pure aggression.
But it's not just the aerodynamics getting a complete makeover. The second major change is happening right under the engine cover. The power unit is going through this seismic shift, a huge move towards electric power.
We are moving to a perfect 50-50 split between the traditional combustion engine and the electric motor. Now get this, that means the electrical power output is set to roughly triple, which is just going to completely change how power gets delivered to the wheels.
And that creates a brand new challenge for the drivers. See, electric motors deliver their power, their torque, instantly. So when a driver slams on the throttle coming out of a slow corner, they're going to get this brutal, immediate kick of force that could so easily spin the car, or even more critically, just shred the rear tires.
So you see the problem, right? Drivers who are too aggressive on the throttle are just going to destroy their tires. But this is where Checo's most famous trait comes into play, his pied de seta, or silky foot. He is legendary for how delicate and smooth he is with the throttle, letting him manage his rear tire wear better than almost anyone on the grid. That skill suddenly becomes a massive advantage in this new electric era.
All right, the third and final piece of this puzzle is the car's actual physical size. After years, and I mean years, of drivers and fans complaining that F1 cars have become too big, too much like boats, well, the FIA is finally shrinking them down.
The cars are going to be 20 centimeters shorter in the wheelbase and 10 centimeters narrower. Now that might not sound like a lot, but in a sport decided by millimeters, this is a huge change. It's going to make the cars way nimbler and more agile, especially on those tight circuits.
And who benefits most from a more agile car? Well, probably the driver they call the Rey de las Calles, the king of the streets. Checo's record on tight, unforgiving street circuits like Monaco, Baku, and Singapore is just phenomenal. Smaller cars should mean better racing on exactly those kinds of tracks, which have always been his personal hunting ground.
So when you just take a step back and look at these three big rule changes all together, the aero, the engine, and the chassis, you start to see a pattern forming. It really does start to look like a perfect storm brewing for a driver with Perez's very specific set of talents.
It all kind of boils down to this. The 2026 regulations, they reward intelligence over aggression with that active aero. They reward finesse over force with those high-torque electric motors, and they reward precision on the very tracks where Checo has always excelled. These aren't just little advantages. They are fundamental shifts in the sport that play directly to his greatest strengths.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final tantalizing question. For a driver who has always been a master of strategy and tires in an era that often just rewarded pure speed, could this great reset be the moment it all finally clicks? Could 2026 finally be Checo Perez's best shot at a Formula One World Championship? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.